The final game of the 2025 NFL season was another chapter in one of the best rivalries in all of sports between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens. The winner of this one would be taking home the AFC North crown, and the loser would be eliminated from postseason contention. The regular season finale delivered a dramatic finish with 27 combined fourth quarter points and multiple lead changes and missed kicks, leading to a Steelers victory. With his NFL career likely coming to an end after this season, Aaron Rodgers showed he still had vintage flashes left in the tank, especially as the Steelers' offense came alive in the second half. Rodgers finished up with over 300 total yards and a touchdown and extended his legendary career at least one more week. Let's dive into the film and see how the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers pulled off another comeback game-winning drive. Both Steelers running backs, Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, got a lot of work in the passing game in this one, particularly in the first half as the Steelers struggled to get their offense going. This play from the first half is a good example of that. So, again, you saw they started out in empty. They motion Kenneth Gainwell back into the backfield after Aaron checks to a different play. The Ravens are running what looks to me like an iteration of cover 2 invert. So again, traditional cover 2, you're going to have this safety and this safety drop out to defend those deep halves. Invert usually sends one of those safeties down to play either a hook curl zone or kind of that mid-read roll that a middle linebacker would play. So you do have this safety dropping down and then covering the deep half. You're going to have number 12, this is, I believe, Alohi Gilman. And then this corner type who typically would play the flat area in a cover 2 traditionally, he's actually now dropping to play the opposite deep half with this safety. So as I let this run here, this is identified really quickly by Aaron. So as I pause it here as he hits the top of his drop, there's really nothing open here. This dig is well covered here by Kyle Hamilton. You have another in-breaking route that's covered. This is Freiermuth, I believe, running a post route that's covered. This turns into a corner that's running right into the opposite deep half. There's nothing there downfield for the Steelers. So what does Aaron do? Obviously, being the vet that he is, sees Kenneth Gainwell out on this swing route, knows how effective his running backs have been in space this year, and just makes a quick decision. Brady used to do this really well, obviously, as well. Checks it down to him quickly, gets him the ball in space, makes a guy miss, ends up picking the first down on 3rd and 6. So again, a lot of early passes to the backs to try to get yardage as they were struggling to figure out how they can press the ball down the field, which they were able to do with a little bit more effectiveness in the second half. Similar type of play here in the second quarter. So again, you're going to see the Steelers do a little bit of pre-snap motioning. No movement, so Aaron gets that idea that it's going to be zone coverage. A little bit of an exotic type of look here from the Ravens with 3 safeties deep. So you're anticipating likely somebody dropping down into the box again. Again, this is, I believe, 3rd and 7, 3rd and medium, or not 3rd and long yet. The Steelers are running a levels concept, so you're going to get multiple in-breaking routes here at different depths to try to find different pockets into the zone here. This ends up being cover 3 from the Ravens, so Kyle Hamilton ends up dropping down, and then you get this safety rotating out to play this deep third. He plays the middle of the field. This corner bails out to play that opposite deep third. So again, just a different exotic way to get to cover 3, but nothing that Aaron hasn't seen before. And again, you're going to see that quick identification, hits the top of his drop as these in-breaking routes are starting to get across. There's really no great window here for him to throw into. This isn't open. This is not going to be an open pass. This is going to be short of the sticks. Really no way for him to get any additional yardage here. So where does he end up going with the football? You see Kenneth Gainwell again on that coming out of the backfield, now this time on like a check down hitch route with a lot of green grass in front of him. Quick diagnosis, Aaron goes through those progressions really quickly, checks the ball down to Gainwell. Once again, get your guy the ball in space, is able to break an arm tackle, picks up another first down here. On this 2-minute drive is where I think Aaron Rodgers really started to get hot in this one. Ravens are going to be working, again, 2-man under concept. So you have this almost 3 safety look with how deep Kyle Hamilton is playing here. He ends up actually having Gainwell in man-to-man coverage, so he has a lot of ground to cover there. But with the off man here to the receiver at the bottom of the screen here, they're working a slant flat concept, very traditional pass concept. So you're going to get that slant here, and then Gainwell is going to come out of the backfield running that flat route. With that off coverage, you get that quick recognition from Aaron Rodgers. So sees Kyle Hamilton driving hard on the flat, knows he has the off coverage, so the slant is going to be free access to the inside with the spacing of the defense and the passing strength being away from the bottom of the screen there. Rips it right into number 19. Picks up a big chunk there for 13 yards to Calvin Austin. So, again, this 2-minute drill is where I think things really started to click for Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers offense in the pass game. Later in that same 2-minute drill, again, there's not many things that are going to be able to fool Aaron Rodgers at this point with all the football he's played in the NFL. This is, again, that really quick identification of understanding leverage. And so what is happening here is you're going to have, very similar to last possession, this guy is who has Kenneth Gainwell in man-to-man coverage. This is essentially cover 0 to this side of the field. He identifies that really quickly, so he sees that if everybody here ends up coming or this guy ends up dropping in the opposite direction, Gainwell out on this flat route, there's only 2 people to this side of the field. You're not really ever going to have a corner kind of manned up on that running back because there's just too much free access from that receiver. That's not going to be typically sound coverage. So the next guy here that would have to have them is going to be the safety. So if you can get the ball out to him quickly, again, you're letting your backs play in space that way. So you're going to see as soon as he catches the snap, looks, realizes that this guy dropped out into zone. He sees the safety pressing hard downhill to try to get to cover that flat route. He's already patted the ball and is looking to get the ball over to Gainwell. Gets it out to him quickly. Gainwell in space, able to fight, ends up almost picking up the first down, picks up 8 yards there. But again, that quick recognition by Aaron Rodgers. Even though the legs aren't still there, even though all the physicals aren't what they're used to be, his mental is probably as high or higher than it has been in even the years in his prime because of all of the football he's played and seen. Now, this is an area where the Steelers struggled in their last game against the Browns, and it also reared its head in this game against the Ravens. And I honestly thought it would cost them the game, but this is the type of route that DK Metcalf would typically be running. You want to have that big-bodied receiver right in the red zone when you can't take the chance of running the football. You don't have, timeouts to spare. You want to run those quick fade routes to the, the pylon. And he's trying to get it here to Calvin Austin at the bottom of your screen. You're going to see he tries to get the outside release, tries to throw it, back shoulder. There's just nothing there at all. It's absolutely well covered. So, this is where they would have really benefited from having DK. In this one, obviously, he's serving that 2-game suspension from the incident in Detroit. They are getting him back for that postseason matchup against the Texans. So, obviously, it's going to be a better defense with how stout Houston has been all year. But, again, just wanted to kind of call that out here on the film that, this 2-minute drill, while I thought, again, Aaron started to heat up, it ended up not netting in points. And this is partially, a reason why I just don't have any great red zone targets in the pass game without DK on the field. Now into the second half, again, this is where it really started to click for the Steelers offense. The Ravens running, again, a similar type of, fire zone type of play that I mentioned earlier. So you're getting that invert look where this safety is actually driving down to play, a hook curl zone, and this corner drops out to play this deep half along with the safety. This is great recognition once again by Aaron Rodgers, but also from Freiermuth here on this one, who knows that he has to be hot and get his head around quickly if these guys end up blitzing, because the only people that could potentially be covering him is if this guy drops, which he does not. He also is going on a blitz, so you get these 3 guys all going. Then it's a matter of one of these 3 having to cover this vertical route from Freiermuth. So if he gets his head around really quickly, that ball might come out quick, which is exactly what happens from Aaron Rodgers. And it's an absolute laser right into Freiermuth's hands to convert. 14-yard pickup on 3rd and 10. And again, just look at his footwork. He recognizes it right away. He doesn't even get into his drop. Quick 1-2, and immediately the ball's coming out. You can see Freiermuth with the recognition as well, sees the blitz coming from that angle already, is turning around looking for the ball. Absolute fastball right up the middle for a big first down conversion for the Steelers early on in the third quarter. If that last throw wasn't good enough for you, this next one was even better. You're going to see they motion out into empty. I'm going to pause it right quick here. It's hard to tell what the Ravens are doing completely coverage-wise. There's some miscommunication here clearly between these four. So you can see the ball is about to get snapped, and they're all still kind of looking at each other, trying to figure out what coverage they're doing. Either way, the ball goes to the top of your screen. These two are locked up in man-to-man. Here, the ball ends up going to Thielen on this kind of outside release go route on this seam, and there is absolutely no space. Aaron Rodgers is padding to throw the ball. I mean, this is blanketed, right? There is no opening for him really to throw this into, and just puts it right over the corner's head. Adam Thielen with the late hands is able to get the pickup there. So, like I said, once we hit that second half, Aaron Rodgers really turned it on. You got those vintage flashes. He didn't have the greatest, flashiest season like he had in his prime, but he still has those moments where he can spin it like one of the best in the NFL, and those two back-to-back plays were a perfect display of that. Now into the fourth quarter here, you're going to see similarly like we showed on that play earlier right away. Look, Freiermuth, the ball was just snapped. He's already got his head around, looking back potentially for the football, knowing that if this is man and this safety has him in man-to-man coverage, which is the case, he's got that recognition that if this guy ends up going, there's no one that can cover him right away, giving Aaron Rodgers a great hot option. But also Aaron Rodgers is a step ahead of him, knows that safety starts to drive on that route. If this is cover one, which it is, this safety is rotating from the weak side. There's a pretty big void then that is going to be left here with Freiermuth, who's kind of running, this, not really a crossing route, but it bends a little bit vertically on the seam there towards the bottom of your screen, which means MVS has a lot of access on-off coverage for this deep dig, which is where this ball ends up going right on time. It's not the greatest thrown ball. It's a little bit behind MVS. If it could have been better, you have an opportunity for rack. But again, like I've mentioned so many times, you're just not going to be able to fool a guy like Aaron Rodgers with trying to drop safeties from, depth to play man to try to mix up coverages. He's seen it all. He's able to dissect it, makes the right decision very quickly and decisively, picks up another first down there early in the fourth quarter. Now, for as much as the Ravens showed these, kind of pseudo pressure looks against the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, they really didn't blitz him much in this game. And that, I think, ultimately also played to their detriment here. So while they're showing this look, this ends up just being really traditional like Tampa 2, where you have these two safeties dropping out and this linebacker kind of playing that middle of the field role where he'll play to the pass strength, which is the bottom of the screen. As you can see, you have 1, 2, and 3 receivers here as opposed to 1 and 2 eligibles here. Let me draw a better 2 there. And he's going to obviously play then to this side of the field. Now, from a route perspective, if you've played a lot of Madden, you've seen this play a lot, or this type of route concept. Freiermuth here, which is where the ball goes, is on this kind of stick nod route where he goes up and fakes quickly like he's going to run a stick route, turns it almost into like a skinny post off of that. Underneath, you're going to have a little hitch here and then a dig by MVS. And this is the perfect play call against, traditional Tampa 2 type of defense, because if he's able to get behind that middle read, midfield defender there, then you have this big void left by these two safeties dropping out at width to get depth to cover those deep halves, which is exactly what happened. So you're going to see here on the snap of the ball, great route there. You can see Freiermuth is selling, that out stick route instead. It's again just a little quick head fake there, and then he's going to turn it up into that kind of like skinny post. But you see the void here that's opening with these safeties dropping out to cover their deep halves. The DB that's on him bites on it, and the ball is it's already out in the air right over everyone's head. It's an absolute dart right to Freiermuth, gets them down to the 5-yard line. So again, thought that they would have blitzed a guy as immobile as Aaron has been this year, a little bit more from Baltimore, but like I said, they're just not really going to be able to fool him. They drop out into coverage. He recognizes it immediately, gets right to the best route available on the concept to beat Tampa 2 cover 2 types of coverages. Last play I'm going to show here was what ended up being the game-winning touchdown in this one. Now, Aaron Rodgers was in a press conference today and said that he actually specifically tagged Calvin Austin on this route backside to run this little kind of like hitch and then go. And they're running from Baltimore Ravens perspective. Similar look, right? Looks like it's going to be that cover one or man look with one of the safeties covering someone from deep. This is actually going to be cover three. So you're going to see on the snap of the ball, once this plays, this safety is bailing out to get to this deep third. Then you've got him covering the middle of the field. This corner who's playing off has this deep third here. And he slips, but it also is a really well-run route from Calvin Austin to sell that hitch, then uses his speed to get back into the go, ends up being the game-winning touchdown. And honestly, Aaron Rodgers peeks front side for a split second, sees kind of the safety rotating over, does not like what's on this side of the field at all. You see his eyes are already fully onto the one-on-one matchup on the backside with Calvin Austin. So again, that veteran quick processing and recognition really pays off here. Sees the hitch drop this corner, and he's already patting the ball. He knows that this is about to be a walk-in touchdown, and that's exactly what it is. Just put the ball right on his face mask, and that ends up being not only the game winner, not only the touchdown that sends the Steelers into the postseason, but is the touchdown that extends what is a first ballot Hall of Fame career from a legend like Aaron Rodgers. But that is going to do it for this film breakdown. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a like, drop a comment, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another upload. All of it helps out the channel a ton, helps me continue to grow as I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So I would be greatly appreciative if you were to do that. As always, I appreciate you for tuning in, and I'm out.